Hey, Savage San Diego, what's happening, man? Just saw your video about you got into it with some guy or whatever, and he's talking about how he's gonna send all these other people at you, and you're gonna run out of bullets and all this good stuff. Well, here's my analysis of that. All right, there's a lot of factors that need to be um, taken into account, especially people thinking like that, or you're gonna come and rob and steal. Aside from that whole fantasy, you really need to be delusional because people need to understand the grand scale of things. Because, yeah, it's like, in your head, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to round up a posse. There's going to be 100 of us roving around, taking and looting and robbing and doing what we want. Okay, fine. Here's my take on that. Let's just say that you're able to round up 20 people. In Chicago, 20 willing and able men. There's more than that usually on a single block. And let's say you're armed, and let's say that you just got, for the sake of argument, let's say you got gas in your car. Because one of the factors right off the bat is some people are going to be able to front run this stuff. Okay, especially preppers. We're going to be like, uh-oh, something's rumbling. We see something coming. Let's go and spend all our cash or whatever because we got to hunker down. Let's go and buy up whatever the hell we can last minute stuff. Just to add to the stack. Then there's going to be the people, the reactionary people that are like, uh-oh, maybe we should, just like before a storm, big snowstorm, hurricane, whatever. You can't find water, you can't find food, the shelves are empty. And this is, usually a day or two, when they're predicting, they're calling for something. Everything gets wiped out. So let's just say that that hasn't happened. Let's say it was like a light switch. From 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., it hit the fan. And you rounded up your people. Just to be able to get people, 20 people, I don't care who they are, friends, relatives, neighbors, whatever, just to get 20 men rounded up and all this stuff. Even if it was planned out, it's still a feat to get everybody together. And I'm not calling out any race, any creed, because there's scumbags everywhere. I don't care if you're in any ghetto USA, any trailer park, wherever you want to call it, wherever the wild-eyed folk are going to be. It's proven time and time again they're going to attack their own first. Like I said, I'm not talking about a race or anything. I'm talking about where you live. Okay? Because it's not going to dawn on you if you already have that mentality. I mean, all humans have that predatory mentality, I believe. But it's at the point of the individual and what triggers it. Okay? I'm sure some of the most mild-mannered preppers will turn into that if they got 2 years worth of food and SHTF lasts 2 years and a day. That last day, I have no doubts that they'd be acting that way. Because you got to feed your family, you got to feed yourself, you got to take care of business. But like I said, let's just say that for the sake of argument, these type of folk, it's been proven they do not have the foresight or whatever you want to call it. They don't think and say, let me go 3 miles away or to another neighborhood or what have you and loot there. They loot their own stuff first. And like I said, let's just say that the shelves were full. Okay, let's say that these guys were able to front run this stuff and they're going to go out and start looting and shooting. Okay. Let's just concentrate on liquids in a gas station, okay, or a mom and pop shop. I'm not talking about the big box stores. We'll get to those in a minute. But think about it. They usually got 10, 12, 15 coolers full of ice, milk, juice, pop. Then they usually got another couple displays of like 2 liters and stuff like that. And assume that they got all their stuff intact. Okay. Typical store owners, especially mom and pop shop where they got everything to lose, they're going to be armed. Okay, so let's say you go in guns blazing, you're going to lose 1, maybe 2 at the very minimum. That's hoping that he's halfway blind sitting in a wheelchair somewhere, distracted by Jeopardy. So let's say your plan goes into place. So now you're down to 18 people and you're able to empty all that stuff fill it up with 2 cars. Okay, because that's probably how it'll fit. 2 carloads full of stuff, you take it back. Which, like I said, you're doing this in your own neighborhood, so more likely you're going to be on foot. But like I said, I'm giving benefit of the doubt saying you got a car. You drive back to your rendezvous point, wherever you're at. Okay, now you're divvying stuff up. 18 men. Let's assume that they don't have families. They divvy up the liquids. You need the liquids more to survive than the food. That's why I picked liquids. Now, you probably, after all that stuff's divvied up, you probably got 3 or 4 days tops of liquids that'll keep you alive. You know, and that, like I said, that's not counting the Twinkies and all that stuff you stuff in your pocket on the way out. Well, what people are failing to realize is that by the time you get organized, get in there, get your stuff, lose a couple people, get back, and you're going to have to figure out, you know, okay, let's either cut this up or let's go out and do this again while we can. Now you need to leave a couple more people back to guard your bounty. Let's say you just use 2, now you're down to 16 people. Now let's go try the store down the other block. Oh, wait. Because, you know, you got 20 people together, went out and did your thing, and at that same time, other people were thinking the same thing. So now that store 2 blocks away has already been done by another group, by another hungry, thirsty, wild-eyed group. Now you got to multiply that everywhere. Think of every store that you know. Mom and pop shop, gas station, big box food store, whatever. And like I said, just the sheer numbers. Let's just say that you were able to gather all those, 20 people per block. You don't have that many stores. You don't have that many places to where you'll be able to go rob and pillage. Now, that's not even counting, you're going to lose some people also just to around the way violence, because like I said, we go back and look at other things, riots. People don't leave their neighborhood. They take it out on their own first. And that's, I think, where a sense of entitlement comes in. Because think about it. If that's your corner store, you grew up on that block, and it comes down to it, you're going to be thinking, this is your store, because this is your block and this is your neighborhood. Somebody from 2 blocks down, they got their own store. They don't have any right to come over here. I'm sure that's going to go through their mind. Oh, what are they doing here? It happens now with stuff that people don't even own. Oh, this is my block because I lived here for 20 years. Hence, that's my store. Hence, that this is that and that's mine and all that stuff. Like I said, it's a big intertangled web. Just think of the sheer masses of people that have your idea. And I'm not talking about you, Savage. I'm talking about, whoever's talking about this thing. Think about the sheer numbers. Everything I've stated is in the odds that they're even going to survive the beginnings of this stuff. Like I said, that's by the time all this comes down to it. At what point do people like this, as angry mobs or whatever, pull the trigger? Is it already after they're out of everything? Because if that's the case, the stores and everywhere else is going to be out too. I mean, at what point do you just start becoming a roving mob? You can't do it before it's, WROL, because you're going to get locked up or shot by battles with the cops. Let's just say, again, for the benefit of the doubt, you guys were lucky. You guys are all Rambo, and you guys are able to front run all this stuff, and you can go out on a spree. Okay, well, by the time word comes out that this is happening, neighborhoods will band together. Okay, and you say, oh, well, we're going over to the rich hood, or we're going over to these people's hood, or whatever. They're going to protect their stuff too, man. The only difference is they're not going to really be robbing each other for it until it's dire straits. Right off the bat, they're not going to rob each other. They're going to probably barter or whatever they're going to do. So they have a different mentality. Like I said, everybody's got that, predatory switch, but different. If that's not on the forefront of the people's mind, people are community people. They're going to band together before they start turning cannibal on each other. Let's say that you go to another hood. All right, let's be honest here. If you're not from around somewhere, the indigenous people know that. I'm not talking about race or color or anything like that. If somebody walks past my house and I don't know them, I'm wondering what the hell they're doing around here. Just because there's not a lot of foot traffic, there's not a lot of car traffic around here. And all my neighbors think the same way. And don't come at me with that racial bullshit, because there's black, white, Mexican, Asian, all this stuff on just my block. Okay, but we all look out for each other. I mean, and like I said, we're gonna know if you belong or not. So again, that goes back to the entitlement. That's not our store. We may not even know the owner of that store, but it's in our hood. So we're gonna protect it if we got the means, because whether they're taking, cash or They're taking protection, bartering protection, or whatever they're doing to give us stuff. That's our store. And okay, so bring your 16 guys. Remember, you lost 2 in your initial robbery. You got 2 guarding your bounty. Let's say, again, that you guys are Rambo, you lose 1 or 2 again. Now you're down to 14. Alright, you go and get another couple of days worth of liquid and food or whatever. So now, we're 1 day in the WROL, and you got about 7 days worth of liquid, which, like I said, that's really, really pushing. I mean, between the infighting, the sheer number of people that are thinking the same way, and assuming that you survive the initial wave of things. Because I also think that, like I said, just like before a storm, when everything is empty, it's not going to really be, okay, WROL, the shelves are stocked. It's going to be some people are going to front run this, and they're going to go and wipe everything out, because it's going to take a few weeks for people, a few weeks of no food, no water, for people to really get to the WROL point. So like I said, what are you going to rob? You going to come? How do you know who's a prepper or not now? Like I said, there's going to be so much fighting and so much killing and so much death before people are even able to venture out and that's assuming that they have the means to venture out. Like I said, stocked gas or whatever you want to call it. However, the means to get out and about. Let's just say again, you got your original 20, and let's just say you venture out. Trying to get out, you're probably going to lose a few people. By the time you get out, trying to start kicking in doors, because, preppers don't have a sign that says, hey, come take my stuff, you'll probably be down to half. Now it's a simple number of subtraction. Now start going house to house. Okay, yeah, not everybody's a prepper, but I'll tell you this much. As I say, 49% of households have guns. Let's say every third house has a gun. Well, they got 2 houses to see you guys doing your thing to get locked and loaded. Like I said, now you're down to 10 people. You go to every third house, now you're down to 8. Now you're down to 7, now you're down to 6. You're not going to get far. Well, coming from the other side of the street is your other mob that's been doing this. You guys are going to meet in the middle. And you're going to fight each other. So now, there's a big firefight. You might be left with 1 or 2 now. So what are you going to do at that point? Lick your wounds and go home? In SHTF, 10 blocks is going to be like 10 miles. You're probably going to get blasted on the way home. If you got to go through the hood that you already pillaged and there's some survivors, they were able to scavenge something together, a gun or something, bat, nail, anything, said you're probably not going to survive the way home. Okay, yeah, it's going to be a huge shitstorm. Don't get me wrong. There are going to be some roving bands that get away with it and that are pretty good at doing this whole thing. But for the most part, it's just going to be a huge battle, I think. And it's going to come down to a lot of people being forced into it, into, having to engage because people were at their door and because of this exactly right here. This stupid-ass mentality of, oh, I'm just going to come and take your shit. You know what? Try it. You got so many odds stacked against you. I think that where they live geographically, they'll be just lucky to even survive to get out of that and have their energy to even shoot a gun. If they survive the initial wave of clashes and shootings and all that. Because it'll get wild. Being prepared. I'm probably going to, just again, share, numbers. I'm probably going to have more energy and strength than you just because I had as proper nutrition as you can get in SHTF. Well, you're over here eating Twinkies and drinking pop or eating Pop-Tarts and, Laffy Taffies. Some crap. Probably throwing your physical body off because it's not used to all that stuff. Then add the stress, then add the less food and all. You're not going to be in your right mind. And I don't mean crazed as in you got Superman PCP power. I mean, you're not going to be in your right mind to be able to even really organize and get out to where you think the stuff that you're going to be able to forage and steal is at. The numbers are stacked against you. I don't care how badass you think you are. I don't care where you came from. I don't care about none of that. Because statistically, look at the numbers. They are stacked against you. And if you think you're that lucky now, go play the lottery and get some money to where you'll be able to prep and not have to deal with this shit. People don't understand the grand scale of things. You know, that's just how it is, and that's my opinion on that. The whole scenario that I played out is giving these people the statistical favors, which in reality they do not have. Nutrition, infighting, fighting amongst neighborhoods, you know, trying to go somewhere else to where that neighborhood's already banded together and take their things. Don't get me wrong, man. You know, I grew up in the hood, all right? But just because you're from the hood and you're still living in the hood or whatever, and like I said, a hood could be a Mexican ghetto, black ghetto, trailer park, whatever you want to call it. You may be able to survive, you know, living off of not a lot of money and stuff like that. And you may have seen tough times. You may have even been to the joint. But that is all during peacetime. WROL, all bets are off. Because Grandpa Dynamite down the block, who's normally sitting outside minding his business, watching, reading his paper, might have his 45 from the war stuffed in that paper now. Okay? Little Grandma Dynamite on the corner, and I grew up in a hood to where there was this 93-year-old lady who hit this gangbanger with a bat when he tried to come through her window. WROL, all bets are going to be off, and it's going to be stacked even more against you. Because like I said, you're not going to be the only ones doing abnormal stuff. The soccer mom might be packing now, okay? The dude across the street playing, Modern Warfare in his basement, or whatever those games are, let's just say he got his daddy's shotgun now. He's going to be playing that until he gets taken care of. Okay, shooting out his window in this fantasy land. You're going to have so many different people to deal with that you normally don't have to deal with. It's just mind-blowing that you could even think that would be able to come out on top and start raping and pillaging. Because like I said, you're going to start doing it in your own hood. And if you don't get taken care of by the good do-gooders, because there are do-gooders that unfortunately got to live in the hood. If you don't get taken care of by them do-gooders that are good people in your hood, you're going to eventually get taken care of. Everybody's survival instinct's going to be kicked in. And I think that morally, people are going to come back to their moral roots. All right? Because right now, you may have a nerd that says, damn, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't steal and rape and pillage and all that. But he won't do nothing for fear of the law. When there is no law, that dude may now have his little trusty handgun or 22 or shotgun or whatever and take things into his own hands now because he ain't got to worry about Johnny Law coming to get him. Okay, you need to take into account all that stuff. Like I said, if you run some numbers and they actually come out in your favor, go play the lottery. Okay, because they just ain't going to happen that way. So, I don't know. That's just my opinion on that. Savage, take it easy, bro. Later.